All right, Volume 4, G.I. Joe Classified Unboxing. Let's do more. G.I. Joe Classifieds are like Pringles. Once you pop, you just can't stop. And I want to keep going. So this lot, I almost have the full run of this lot. I was super excited about this lot when I broke the figures apart into lots of, videos. I was super excited about this one because I had a few of these figures when I was growing up, which we'll go through as we go through. We'll go through. So let's go over what the lineup is now. So we're up to 33. So this is the Battle Android Trooper. 34 is Alley Viper. 35 Storm Shadow, the real Storm Shadow. 36 Spirit, and 37 Cobra Officer. And remember, we opened up Cobra Infantry already, so this is Cobra Officer. So this is one of the ranking infantrymen. So he's still a grunt, just like the last one, but this is, a higher up grunt in the totem pole. And I really, really love that figure, so I hope I like this too. He's definitely got a different vest, and the vest was the coolest part of the Cobra Infantry. But hopefully when we get to him, we'll dig him. So let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at the boxes and get him out of the boxes, and let's go. All right, up first is Battle Android Trooper, and one interesting thing about this is the original figure actually had an S at the end too. It was Battle Android Trooper Z, I guess. I don't know. But then, with this classified version, they just made it Bat with no S on it. So that's, I don't know, just a weird fact. But essentially, it's an android trooper. Cobra kept running out of real people, so they had to make androids at some point. And I did have this Bat when I was younger. I don't still have it. I do have a version 2 Bat still, which I'll show when we get it out of the package. But this version is obviously based on the first version, if you've seen it before. So version 1, series 5 from 1986 with the iconic black costume. The other Bats that had different costumes, I know there's a Python Patrol one, which I do have. And there's also a Crimson one out now in the classified line, but I think I'm just going to stick with this. I do have the Python Patrol one. I got it on sale, so whatever. But the original figure of this was super awesome when I was a kid. It was so cool. That little thing on the front was like a hologram to sort of simulate, the insides of a robot, so you could see some of the circuitry and stuff. So, just generally glancing over this before we get it out of the box, I'm not quite sure I like this as much as the original version. This part right here, I think it might have even opened up or something like that. But maybe I'm remembering wrong. I do know the original had that backpack and had all these arm pieces too. So it was pretty cool. But we're just talking about the package now. Let's wait till we open it. So, Bat. There's the nice, cool picture with the battle damaged head that comes right there in the thing. So this is definitely a troop builder, because they have multiple hands. There's some battle damage and stuff. So if you want a, cool display, you might want to get a couple of these. First side is a continuation of the Bat. His head's all, I don't know if he's being torn apart or put together. I don't know. All right, other side, he's 33 in the series, and this is pretty freaking frustrated. They changed the Hasbro website, which is what I used to find out these icons, and all the Hasbro links I had before go straight to the store now, like overnight. Like, I don't know. So I can't figure out what this icon is. Like, it's not on the icon stuff that I have. Like, it's so stupid to have these things here and then make them so hard to find. Like, it doesn't even make sense. I know when the series first came out, people didn't even understand what they were, and people had to decode them and stuff and post on blogs and stuff because Hasbro didn't say anything officially about it. So I can't freaking see what this is. So if anyone has any information, leave it in a comment below. Let me know if you have a list online or anything, or any links that I can go to find these icons again. But they've completely disappeared. All the Hasbro links just go to the store, and I don't know. Because Hasbro only cares about money. Just remember that, okay? Remember that. Remember that these companies only care about money. Anyways, so we'll just make something up. So, the Bat likes to travel the globe, I guess. I do know this is energy weapons. This is hand-to-hand combat, and this is siege. So Bats, because they're androids, they're disposable. They would be the first wave to take over, a castle or something like that. Because, no human casualties, just robots. Robots aren't people, right? Just don't watch the movie iRobot, okay? All right, next up, Alley Viper, which I did have when I was younger. I don't have the figure anymore, but I loved Alley Viper. I loved the big shield he came with. And essentially he's like a shock trooper, like a sort of a SWAT trooper, with the big riot shield. Although, his color scheme, he he kind of stands out. He definitely stood out in the series, the original series he came out. He had a few different figures, but I had the version 1, series 8, 1989 version, which is this version, like, perfectly. He had some other versions in other series, but I think that was the only version in the original, you know, Real American Hero. And I remember the flip up visor and everything, and I love it. I think I'm gonna like this figure coming out of the box. I know it's not the most exciting or popular character. I had it when I was younger. I really liked it. I dug the, you know, orange and the blue, and I dig the box art too. The box art's a little more cartoony this time. Same sort of art on the side with Cobra Commander down there saying, "Yeah, get going." All right, other side, he's 34, so we're going in order this episode. It's crazy. So I do know some of these. Foot Soldier, Shield, obviously he's got the shield. I don't know this one, but obviously it's a grenade or a flashbang or something like that. And then Urban Combat at the end, obviously he's, you know, an urban sort of SWAT, you know, shock trooper sort of thing with, you know, the big riot shield and stuff. So that's how they quell, you know, urban populations, you know, force them down an alleyway with the shield and oppress them. Oh yes. Oh yes, this is the Storm Shadow we've been waiting on. The first one I didn't like too much. It was the Arctic, Arctic version, Arctic climate version. This is Storm Shadow, you know, the rival of Snake Eyes. They were from the same clan. Stuff happened. They had a falling out. And I talk about this a lot in this series. With this series is the iconic look. This is Storm Shadow's iconic look. This is how he looked in the cartoon mainly and the comic book. And this is his iconic look from his version 1 in series 3 in 1984. I never had this growing up. I had 2 other Storm Shadows though. I had version 2 from series 7, 1988, which is similar look to the first figure that came out, the Arctic one. And then I also had version 3, which was series 11, 1992, and that was the Ninja Force version. And I actually, out of all the G.I. Joes I do still have, I have a lot of the Ninja Force ones. Maybe I'll show them all off when we get this figure. I don't know why, but I love the Ninja Force series. And those are the ones I kept over the years for some reason. I don't know. But little enemyzero liked ninjas, I guess. So I definitely like the style of this art. It's definitely more stylized than some of the other art. Going to the side, it's got the shurikens with the little eyeball in the middle. It's pretty creepy looking. And then him jumping over the top. He's 35 in the series. Covert Ops, Bladed Weapons, Infiltration, and Ninjutsu. So I think this might be the same iconography as Snake Eyes, if I remember correctly. Maybe there's one off or so, but it's basically Snake Eyes. They're, you know, they trained from the same clan. They got the same skill set. All right, next up we have Spirit. Spirit Iron Knife. I think in the original Spirit was just his name, but you know, he's got obviously a native moniker onto his name here. And I really like the art style on this one. It's got that Aboriginal sort of, you know, feel to it, like the totemic feel to it. It's very nice. This figure, the costume looks to be based on his version 1 figure, which was series 3, 1984. I never had a Spirit growing up, so this is my first Spirit. So like Lady J and Flint, it's very nice to finally have a Spirit in my collection. And, you know, just looking at it, it looks phenomenal. I can't wait to get it outside the box. It's even got his eagle here. I'm sure his eagle has a name. I don't know his name right off the top of my head. And there's more of that super stylized art on the side. I definitely dig it. All right, 36 in the series. He's Recon, Light Weapons, Stealth, and Animal Handling. So obviously he's kind of a solo, you know, recon character who out in the open, he stealths through and spies on things, does some recon work, and then, you know, reports back to Joe. Obviously he did fight with Joe, I'm sure, more often than not, but he was definitely a cool character. We'll get more into him when we actually open the package. Last but not least, Cobra Officer, which actually, this was from series 1 too, the 1982 series. There was actually the Cobra, which was the Cobra Infantry from last video. And there was actually a Cobra Officer. And the big difference in the original figures, they were pretty similar. But this one did have a silver Cobra emblem on the front, whereas the Cobra Officer has the red one, or the Cobra Infantry, sorry. So this has art pretty similar to the Cobra Infantry, but obviously this guy's the officer. He's the leader. So there's only a couple of these to, you know, I don't know, 50 Cobra Infantrymen. And there he is leading with the jets flying overhead. He's number 37 in the series. He's a leader, light weapons, sabotage. And we'll get to this one last because I can't freaking figure this out. It looks like it's got the hand-to-hand combat symbol, but it's also got the infiltration symbol. So was this a misprint? Or is he infiltrating hand-to-hand combat? Beats me. That's a thing though. But it's definitely got the fist there. And then it's also got infiltration there. So Is it a misprint? I don't know. All right, let's start doing our thing. All right, Bat out of the package, playing with him a little bit, posing him and checking him out. And this definitely hits the nostalgic factor to me for sure. This is another one of those iconic, early Cobra characters. And like I said, I did have this. I don't have it anymore. I did have this when I was younger, and it's pretty awesome. I definitely dig the color scheme, the orange on the black with a little bit of silver. I think maybe they could have made the robot parts a little shinier so they look a little bit more metallic. They are very, very matte and very dull, which does fit the series aesthetic a little bit, but it would have been nice if this was a little bit shinier maybe. Like I said, I don't have my original that I had growing up, but I had this one, the version 2 one, which I still have. This is mine from when I was a kid. And the big thing with the bats is they had the removable hands, right? And you could put on other accessories in their hands. I think the original bat, you could only remove the right hand of. That was the only hand you could actually put stuff on. But on this new classified ones, you could remove either of these hands. And he's got, when we look at the accessories, he's got, different add-ons to the hands. And this is definitely very close to the original figure, like the look and the feel of it and everything. I dig it. The only weird thing with him, so articulation, articulation's the G.I. Joe articulation. He does have butterfly joints. So some of them do, some of them don't. This one does. It's got nice movement to the head and everything. The legs are super tight. So I'll play with those a little bit and loosen them up a little. The only things to note when I opened it is this belt was like way crooked, way up here. It took a lot of force to get it down, because it was stuck on, that articulation lip right there. It was stuck there. It was so hard to get down, but eventually I got it down level because this side can't go up. So I wasn't sure if it went up or down, but obviously it has to go down because this side, cuts it off right there. But anyways, I think it would be cool if they did this as a hologram. Like, I know this is internal parts right here and they're sculpted and everything, but I think it would be cool homage to the original if this was like, one of those hologram stickers on there. I wouldn't have minded. I think that would have been cool. Cool. So the sculpt work is all good. I definitely like the robot parts. The black part is all textured, so it's a very good texture. So very good sculpt work on it. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this. I wish it was the hologram. And I'm not a fan of the big feet either. The big boxy, like square feet. I don't know. They look kind of, they look kind of goofy to me. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, this version 212, you can't remove this fist. So you can only remove the right hand, which I think was the original figure, a limitation of the original figure too. So the new bat is ambidextrous. You can, do whatever with either hand. So good sculpt, classic design. I like everything. Wish it had a hologram. Let's check out the accessories. All right, first up is his battle damaged head, which we obviously saw on the package. It's on the package art and everything. Pop it on. It looks really good. I definitely like the blue in it. And I think the sculpt work is pretty cool. They did a really good job on, getting the cracks in the faceplate right there and actually making it look like, there's a robot, there's metal underneath this black area, there's depth to it. So it looks great. Like, I think that looks cool. I'm probably going to display it in that fashion, the battle damaged fashion. All right, it does come with 2 chest plates, so this does get covered up. But essentially, there's a couple pegs in there. You just sort of stick it on there. So there you go. So he's got his faceplate on, so you don't always see those robot parts. Unless you want to, obviously. But that's just a normal one. Non-battle damaged. And then there's a battle damaged one too. That you can, I'll just put it on there. You can pop in there. So now he's, been hit a couple times. He comes with a backpack, which is pretty similar to the first bat. It looks stylistically the exact same. Because the original bat, I think, came with 3 fists. And obviously you didn't have anywhere to put them. So the backpack had some pegs on them. So you could like put him in there. And he could like carry his different, hands around, which was a pretty cool touch. And this backpack obviously, copies that. It's a nostalgic nod to the first bat figure. All right, first up weapon-wise is a handgun. Obviously he needs a gun. You could have as many claw pinchers and drills as you want, but you gotta have a gun if you're going into war. So he's got a little pistol. I know he's more known in the cartoon for having a machine gun. So it's interesting that they included a pistol here. I forget what the original figure came with, but the sculpt work on it's good. It's nothing bad about it. It's got the, gray metal look to it. the bat look. All right, let's go over these are his replacement hands. So I believe the original figure came with like a drill sort of thing, which obviously this is the drill part right here. So you can see it's just a pointed drill. So all the sculpt work is good. The, metal matches his arm, obviously. So there's not a lot of details here. There's not a lot of paint details or anything, but it matches the arm. A drill, maybe? I don't know. It might not be a drill. This might be something else, like a flamethrower or something. I don't know. And he's got this crab claw thing, which this is his iconic hand, I think, from the first set, the one that I used the most for sure. So that last one definitely wasn't the flamethrower. This is definitely the flamethrower, because you could tell. This is where, the gas comes, and this is where the fire is, and when you combine them, you have a flamethrower. So this is the flamethrower, and it looks awesome. I think this is probably my favorite one, other than the crab claw. I like the crab claw too, but this is pretty cool to have a flamethrower with this amount of detail. I like all the sculpt work at the end right there, and you can definitely tell what it is by its design. So this one, just use your imagination for whatever you want it to shoot out. And then going back to the full figure, we got, the gun in the holster here. One of the things I love about the series, I've said it in multiple videos, is I like how they can typically hold all their accessories on each figure. I love that design choice. So he's got, the plate on, we got the battle damage head, gun in the holster, all the other weapons go in the backpack, which leads me to my biggest complaint about the whole classified series so far is the backpacks. Like, I know I had problems with Gung Ho's backpack. Look at that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I would say generally on all the backpacks, none of them stay in very well. So Hasbro, I think, needs to improve this for sure. Like, it's so loose and it's in there as much as it can go. Like, I know eventually this is probably going to pop out by itself. So I mean, I don't know why they designed the pegs and the holes like they did. Whatever, I don't know. But that's my big complaint about the classified series as a whole so far, is the backpacks don't seem to stay on very well. But going back to the figure, this is him in all his glory. Actually, it's not a him, it's a robot, right? So a they, them, maybe? I don't know. But this figure actually honestly surprises me a little bit how much I like it after it comes, once you get all the accessories on, the plate and everything, like I like it even more than I initially anticipated I would like it by looking at it through the package. It's definitely iconic to the original design. It's got pretty good sculpt work. I don't like the rectangle feet, the bread loaf feet, but the color scheme and the plate once you get it on, the backpack holding all the accessories, I definitely am a big fan of this figure for sure. All right, Alley Viper here. And like I said, I did have an Alley Viper when I was younger and I did like it. I really like the shield and everything. So this is a very nostalgic one for me. The updates of the figure definitely look pretty cool. Obviously, I like how, the face looks a little better underneath. Like, we'll put the visor on eventually. And the original figure, obviously, he had a face underneath too, but it was mainly just, the blue masking. So it's cool that you can, see his eyes. And again, the faces, I really like the faces in the G.I. Joe series, especially the eyes. They do a really good paint job with all the eyes. I haven't seen one messed up yet or anything like that. I definitely dig the iconic color scheme. I'm not sure about this brown though. I don't know, this brown stands out to me a lot, especially on the shin guards. And going down to the shin guards, I'm getting real sick of these crooked shin guards from G.I. Joe. See how the foot is facing out and the shin guard's way cockeyed? Like, you can't fix that. It's I don't know, it's just glued on improperly. Like, you can see a big gap right there. So, I mean, I saw it in a few other figures before this too, but see how wonky that looks? The foot's going forward and the shin guard's like not even pointed forward. So there's definitely some QC issues going on at Hasbro, like there always has been. I'm not gonna say Hasbro's the best company in the world, but I do dig my G.I. Joe classifieds and Marvel Legends and stuff, but there are issues that they have. And you don't want to shy away from the issues. This is not going to be one of those channels that just bashes things. And I don't like to watch content creators like that who just bash things. Like that's their whole personalities, to just bring stuff down. I want to bring stuff up. But this definitely is an issue. You know what I mean? Like it's reality. Let's not just ignore it. So this, hopefully this gets fixed in the future, because it looks kind of wonky. Going back to the shin guards too, why I really even got on these is the brown color, right? I think the brown color really, I don't know, it kind of stands out as not very aesthetic, I guess you could say. Like, it doesn't match the rest of the costume. The overall notes of the costume are here. Again, I really like the vests. That's what they do here. Like this chest, you know, the torso and then the crotch piece. I don't know what you want to call that. I'm sure are reused from something, just like the legs. These are Beachhead's legs too. So Beachhead's legs, and Beachhead could have been reused from someone else too that maybe I didn't catch. But anyways, these legs are all reused. These are definitely Beachheads down here, not Beachhead shin guards. And I don't see anybody with these knee guards yet. So these knee guards might be a new sculpt for this figure. So some stuff is new, some stuff is old. I understand how it goes in the toy making world, but there is new stuff here, right? You know, head sculpt, this nice Cobra sort of arm guard here. And he comes with a ton of accessories. I was shocked by the amount of accessories he comes with. He comes with 2 little knives, and I wasn't sure where to put them, but obviously one goes here, one goes there. And I'm sure there's places on the body for us to put stuff. I'll get to that. This is actually Beachhead's leg thing too, because I remember when we looked at Beachhead, I couldn't tell what that was. So I remember that from Beachhead. This might even be the same. So I don't know. From the waist down, this might just be Beachhead, other than the, you know, the shin guards and the knee pad. But going back to the nostalgia piece, I really like Alley Viper. So there's a lot of reuse on this figure, but it does look pretty cool with, you know, the paint scheme, the color scheme and everything. It is very iconic to the original figure. So let's take a peek at the accessories now, especially the shield. I want to see the shield. So let's start with the visor. So I pop the visor on. It's just 2 pegs. You just pop it on. And, you know, this is the exact look the original figure had. He had that visor that could go up, go down. Obviously, you know, when you're just talking to your buds about, you know, playing Metroid Prime Remastered, you want to keep that up. But when it's time to go, want to put that on, and then I don't know how he can see. He's blind now. I don't know how this works technologically wise. I wouldn't think he could see anything, but it's there to protect his face. All right, backpack looks super similar to his first backpack too. So, and that's what I love. Like, I love the nods back to the original figure. I love the Cobra symbol right there. Unique carve on here looks good. There's some grenades down at the bottom. It looks great. There's a peg hole there, I'm sure for one of the weapons, because I remember the original backpack did have a gun on it here with like a, you know, a hook thing, and there's a hook thing in the package, which we'll see in a second. So I'm sure that goes on a gun, and then a gun hooks here, but we'll see that in a second. But this definitely looks super close to the first original backpack. It kind of looks like a proton pack from Ghostbusters too. All right, this is the first gun, and these were 2 separate pieces, but this is clearly the gun that goes with this, because it had a hole in there for this to go. It has, you know, you can tie a string between here, which is honestly kind of weird. It didn't come with a string. Obviously, this is meant to put a string there, because, you know, that shoots out and he can grapple to different places like Batman. But the sculpt on it's good. It looks unique. I don't think I've seen one like this, and it does hook to the backpack, which I'll show in a second. All right, so yeah, so it just goes, the hole goes on the trigger, obviously. Get it nice and straight first, and pops right in there. So now that is his exact, almost exact, obviously not exact, but this is his original backpack right here. It looks good. It looks so good. All right, 2 little knives he comes with, which could probably go on those 2 holders on his body. They're, you know, they are what they are. They're tiny little knives, not a lot of details, but I do like the handles. This is a unique sculpt as far as, I don't know, I can tell it's, you know, a round handle with just some rivets coming out. And it's also got, I don't know, it's got little holes for maybe a string or something too. I don't know. I don't really know what's up with that design choice right there. All right, small handgun is next. Something simple, something that gets the job done. There's the sculpt on it right there. It goes in his, you know, hip holster, and it's that solid black color. It looks good, but it's not terribly exciting. And then getting into his heavier weapons, he's got 2 heavier weapons. So right here, he's got obviously you know, some automatic machine gun of some sort right here. And, you know, the sculpt's good. I love all the details stuff, and I still like, it comes with this ammo clip, which you can take out, right? So it's a cool touch. Like, obviously it's not super practical, but something like that, I like when companies go the extra mile to do, you know, cool stuff like that. Like, it looks great. It's got a removable ammo clip. It looks pretty darn sweet. Same thing with this weapon. This is sort of a long range, you know, automatic rifles type weapon. It does come with a clip that is detached already. So you just, you know, hook it in there just like the other weapon. So there you go. You got your, you know, I don't know what this is called. I don't know if these have official names in G.I. Joe lore. And that brings us to his signature accessory. This is why you'd get it. This is why I got it when I was a kid, because this was so cool looking. And it definitely, you know, follows the aesthetic of, you know, his armor and everything. It's got a really nice carved Cobra symbol in here. And then on the back, there's even more details. Like you can see through this, I guess. Like it's got like, a targeting screen so he can, hold it in front of him and actually see through it. So I guess he's seeing through his visor and he's seeing through a shield, man. To be an alley viper, you gotta have really good eyesight, I guess. And the cool thing about this actual handle is it's right or left-handed because it does swivel around. So if you notice, one side's bigger and one side's smaller. So obviously his arms got to go in that way. So if you want to make him, right-handed or left-handed, you could just swap that around, which is pretty cool little touch. Again, cool little touch. I definitely dig it. This shield brings me back in the day. Played with alley viper quite a lot. And if you put the shield on right, it also keeps his hand open so he can hold both of his big guns. So, like I said, he can actually hold everything in his repertoire. So alley viper overall, I love the design. I love the iconic character. Some people don't have any nostalgia to this character. I understand that. It's just a generic trooper. I have nostalgia with him because I had him. He was one of my top Cobras when I was younger. So this figure knocks it out of the park for me. He's got so many accessories, looks so good, especially with the shield down and everything. Looks so good. The only thing I'm not that happy with is those brown colors, and the off-center shin guards are kind of crappy. There's a lot of reuse here, but you can't really tell because, the unique paint scheme and everything. But I love the iconic shield, the iconic helmet, the iconic backpack. I love it all. All right, up next, I'm excited about this one. This is the Storm Shadow. The Storm Shadow I've been dreaming of. The Storm Shadow I've been waiting on. This is so amazing. Amazing. And I love the white too. Some of the other figures I've seen, especially the movie figures, it's like this weird off-white, like egg color that, not a big fan of. This is pure white. This is Storm Shadow. So if you don't know Storm Shadow's origin, he's one of the few characters that have defected between Cobra and G.I. Joe. Like sometimes he's a good guy, sometimes he's, with Cobra. So he's jumped over quite a lot. Obviously, this is based on his first appearance, which was, an assassin for Cobra. I think it was a personal bodyguard of Cobra Commander or something of that sort. But he does have a huge history with Snake Eyes. And his history was a lot more pronounced in the comic book than the TV show or anything. Because in the comic book, he fought in, I don't know, I think maybe Vietnam or something like that with Stalker and Snake Eyes. And that's how he formed a bond with Snake Eyes. And then when Snake Eyes went into, the clan to get trained, Snake Eyes actually surpassed him in skill. And so their master, I think his master was the Hard Master or something like that. Like, yeah, I know that name is kind of weird, but it was like the Hard Master. And anyways, he was given like Snake Eyes a final test and he was assassinated. And so, the assassination was made to look like Storm Shadow did it. So it was a big mystery in the comic books. It was like, oh my gosh, did Storm Shadow really do it? And I think it turned out at the end of the day to be Zartan disguised as Storm Shadow. So it was a big thing, right? So he's a way more complex character than the cartoon gives him credit for if you go by the old, Marvel comic books. As far as I understand, they're blood brothers too. So there's definitely a lot of history behind them. And obviously this costume is based on, the initial first figure where he was a Cobra. It was the initial white. So basically the opposite of Snake Eyes, you know what I mean? And I am totally digging this figure. Like, I don't see a lot of reuse here. I don't have all the ninjas. Maybe there's some reuse from the ninjas that came out, but it looks like an entirely new sculpt to me. I can't see any reuse on the pants or the legs or the feet or anything. Like, this figure is so good. Like, so good. I love the sleekness. I love the, ninja-ness of it. You know what I mean? He's got the basic, G.I. Joe articulation. He's got some big butterfly joints here, which actually are the frays on his shirt. And that looks so good. It looks really good. And it gives him a lot of movement. Just like Snake Eyes, he's got the big old ab crunch in the middle, the G.I. Joe ab crunch. Obviously, these belts are separate pieces. This bottom belt actually has some white on it too. So to simulate, the bottom of his shirt a little bit. So, once you get it down on the body, it actually looks pretty good. Like, it looks really good. And it definitely looks like, the bottom of his shirt. It doesn't stand out and look like weird or anything like that. I love the shade of white. He's got, double elbows, double knees. Like, he's going to be super fun to pose. So first couple of accessories we're going to put right on him. He's got like a cloth right here, which I think hooks to the belt right there. So it looks like, his belt is tied. just like that. He's like a quadruple black belt or something like that, I read in my research. And he also does come with a hood too. So I don't know, I'm guessing we're gonna have to remove the head to put this on. But let's check it out. So you might need to remove this collar, because this collar is obviously the hood, not on his head. Folded down. Oh! So let's check him out with this on. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it on or off. I do think it looks nice. It looks way better than the Arctic Mission hood. That one looked kind of goofy. So we'll leave it on for now. It does look pretty good. All right, first accessory here is gonna be his backpack, which doubles as, an arrow holder, because he does use bow and arrows. He came with a bow and arrow. Quite a few of his figures came with bow and arrows. And he's got sword holsters here. So he does come with 2 swords, one a little bit shorter and one a little bit longer. And they can both go in here too. So this backpack is styling. I definitely like it. It's even got a peg here. I don't know what that peg's for. Maybe we'll find out as we do this. It's maybe for the bow and arrow, so he can carry everything. But it's got a good paint job on it. It's got the clan symbol right there. Arrows, solid piece, so they're staying in there. But it definitely looks good. And I like how, it's got the painted details. A lot of the G.I. Joe's accessories don't have that. Good. And that'll bring us to the swords right here. Like I said, one's a little bit longer, one's a little bit shorter, and they appear to have the same sculpt on the handles. So they have the same sculpt on the handles. The blade length's a little bit shorter. The weird thing is they're a different finish too. If you can see, the shorter sword is like more of a matte finish. It's very dull, and this one's very shiny. I don't know if that was done intentionally. I mean, to differentiate them, I don't know. But the swords look good. The sculpts look great. And, they're nice. They're not bent straight out of the package, which is one of my pet peeves about swords and stuff. So they look good. They get thumbs up from me. Let's get them in the backpack. So they go right in there like that. We've got the long one in, short one in, just like that. So yeah, goes right in the backpack just like that. Looks awesome. And he does come with his trusty, tried and true bow and arrow. And again, it's a little bit better than most of the accessories. It's just one little red handle, but it does have some paint on it. That means they're trying. They're trying. Even the arrows has the red feathers on it, just like the ones in his backpack. The cool thing about this is that actually the arrow can hook into the bow like this. So that can help you like with poses and stuff. The arrow like hooked in like that. So it's not just, flopping around or whatever. It looks really good, and it does go on the backpack. So we'll see that in 1 second. So going back to his backpack, even the arrow goes in there. There's a single hole right there. So you can put the single arrow in with the bunched up. Obviously it stands out a little bit because they painted over, actual arrow itself on the backpack, but whatever. It's not a huge deal, I don't think. And this, see, play Tetris, right? Match up the peg, goes like that, and the bow and arrow goes right on. So he's literally got everything on his back. This is super cool. So Storm Shadow, all completed with all his stuff on. I've checked with everything. I've played with him a little bit, posed him a little bit. And I have to say that this is one of my favorite figures in the whole line so far, for sure. So it's probably going to be my favorite of this episode. I have no doubt. We'll find out at the end. But this, this hits every single note that you could ever want with a Storm Shadow figure, I think. Like the details, the sculpt, the actual whiteness of his costume. It's not that off-white, weird color. He's got the Cobra symbol on the chest. I love the sculpt work and the eyes on the face. His accessories that all fit onto his back. And I'm super impressed with this figure. I absolutely adore it. I think it is amazing. All right, and here's Spirit Iron Knife. And this is mostly reused from Duke, from what I can tell. Except for maybe the boots and the feet. But pants are Duke's, shirts Duke's, shoulders are Duke's, sleeves are new. They're not Duke's because Duke's, go down further. But a lot of reuse for Duke here. But, the personalizations for each figure, because that's what the G.I. Joe line does. It reuses a lot of the base features, but the gun straps are his specific color and stuff like that. And this is a new, sculpt, this soft plastic, gun holster and everything that he has around his chest. And that's what sets the figure, apart from the other ones, obviously. So I definitely like the new stylistic choices used here to differentiate him from, you know, the reuse stuff underneath. He's got his classic blue shirt on. He's, you know, he identifies as like a shaman, like a Native American shaman. And, you know, going back in the day, whenever they introduced minority figures or, you know, marginalized ethnicities and stuff in lines like this, you know, there's a fine line between it being okay or being, you know, too racist or anything like that. And I never got that from Spirit. A lot of the G.I. Joes and stuff originated in the comic books before they made it to the line. And I don't know about his exact origins, but I know it's problematic for some people. So if this figure is problematic to you, then I stand with you. If you don't want to get it for those reasons, that's okay. Everybody's different, and I will always be an ally in that sense. But going back to the figure himself, let's just focus on the figure himself. I obviously really like it. There's a lot of reuse here underneath. It's almost all reuse, but the unique things, I like the sculpt on this, as I said. It's even got, you know, the sort of animal hide leather knife holster right here with a nice touch with the frayed edge, which is, you know, traditional Native American sort of thing. Because Spirit's character, if you don't know, he's Native American. He's from New Mexico, I believe. And he studied to be like a shaman, a social worker, a hero before he enlisted in G.I. Joe. And then, you know, joined the military and got like the military side of it, right? So he's very well-rounded. He's as a character, he's super smart, and I think he's a great character for sure. And this figure definitely looks good. It's a complete homage to the original figure, but it looks so good, especially the head sculpt. The head sculpt is what really gets me. The sculpt and the paint job and everything. Here, I got in closer. The sculpt and the paint job and everything is so good. I keep saying it. I really like the G.I. Joe heads, like for real. Whoever's in charge of that is doing an awesome job. And, you know, he's got the hair sculpt where these two braided sides are semi-soft, so you do get some head movement. It's not completely hindered by that. He's got the red headband on that he's famous for too. You know, he's got the tomahawk right there. And, you know, the little rank arrows, I guess, right there on his other side. All these straps are an extra piece, which is obviously what G.I. Joe Classified does, which I touched on before. So I like the color scheme of everything. I really like the blue shirt with the red shirt underneath and the, you know, tan pants. That's his color scheme. And, you know, it brings me back to his character. Articulation, same G.I. Joe Classified articulations, very small butterfly joints in there, but they're there. Double elbows, double knees, all that good stuff. Feet go down. There's no shin pads to make me angry with. So I'm definitely digging the figure. I like how, you know, he's one of the more slender G.I. Joes. So you can definitely tell that in his body sculpt, his arm sculpt. And he's actually got 2 holes there. That's for the eagle, I believe, which the eagle's name is Freedom. I did find this out, okay? So let's check out his accessories and see how cool Freedom is. All right, first things first, backpack. So again, they're starting to regularly put painting details on their stuff. It's not single color anymore. And I've definitely noticed with this batch that almost everyone has some paint details on their weapons and their guns and stuff. So maybe they're up their game a little bit. Maybe that's why around this time they actually started charging more for the figures. The figures when they first came out were $19.99. I think around this time they're $22.99 or so. I think they're still $22 at like Target and Walmart. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, this backpack looks sort of like his classic backpack, and it's got this up top with the 2 holes in it, just like his arm, right? So this is for freedom. So when he's walking with his backpack, you can put freedom up here or on his arm to get whatever pose you want. Super, super, super cool. It also has a peg on this side. That's probably for his rifle, for his sniper rifle to hang on there when he's not using it, but we'll see. Speaking of the rifle, here is his rifle. This is obviously a long-range sniper rifle because he's recon, right? So maybe he's not shooting things, but he's gonna go around, look through this scope, zoom in, spy on things. You know, maybe he is shooting people with his big old rifle, but the rifle looks good. It looks like a unique scope to me. I don't think I've seen this yet. Trying to get it focused, but it does have, again, the paint detail on it, right? And that just kicks it up a notch, right? It's way better than the first few series sort of accessories, you know what I mean? Just that little touch right there makes it look that much cooler. It does come with one small handgun. He does have that holster on his side. I'm not sure if this is a new sculpt. It looks kind of plain to me. So I would think they reused this at some point. Like this is not a completely new sculpt. But I don't know, you know, it's just a little black handgun. Everybody needs one, right? In G.I. Joe. All right, and there's his 2 knives. So he's got, you know, like a combat knife, it looks like, which I'm pretty sure we've seen this sculpt before somewhere. So it's just a generic sort of combat knife. This knife is really cool. This is unique. So it's got the paint details on it, which look great, but also the handle. It's got like a little skull at the end. I don't know what kind of animal it is, a prairie dog or something, I don't know. But it's, you know, a unique sculpt for this. This is probably like maybe his skinning knife or something like that, when he skins, you know, animals that he needs to skin, or Cobra, skin some cobras. Okay, so the chest knife holder, I think probably holds this one right here. Goes in there nice like that. That looks really good with the skull like pointed up and everything. And then he's got another one on his hip right here. This is probably for the black knife, I would imagine. It's a little bit skinnier. Zoop. Yep, right in there, right? He's got all his accessories. Gun on the backpack. Smaller gun here. Knife. I love it. I love it classified. And then the big accessory. And I've heard really good things about timber and, like, you know, the animals in this figure series. And this does not disappoint either. Like, I can't even believe this. Like, the sculpt is pretty good, right? But like the articulation, the wings are articulated. And they're removable because he's got different wings. I'll show you in a second. But, you know, the legs are articulated. The feet are too. The feet can turn and move. And even the head. The head can move around to see what he's looking at. This is so cool. Freedom is so cool. And, you know, like I said earlier, he can either stand on the backpack or he can stand on Spirit's, his arm right there. And here's the wings. Look at the sculpting detail on that. That looks so good. You can see all the individual feathers and, you know, the texture from the individual feathers. It looks so good. The top side, this even has a wash on it. Like, oh man, that looks so good. I'm super impressed with this. Super impressed. So the wings go on there pretty easy. And, you know, they're ball joints. So you can, you know, put them up. You can make some pretty shots, some pretty poses in your display. And he can look at you, sort of like a flying, like he's swooping down to grab, you know, a prairie dog, like on Spirit's knife. That's how we got the prairie dog skull. So Spirit, with everything on him and everything, I am so happy with this figure too. Again, I think this wave of the series, you know, the Storm Shadow Spirit wave, like this is another level. Like, I really like all the details on here. Doesn't matter if there's a lot of reuse here. The colors are the colors. He looks just like Spirit. Again, if you saw this as a silhouette or anything, you know, from a distance or anything like that, and you knew about G.I. Joe, you know who this is, Spirit and Freedom. All right, so the last figure of this video is Cobra Officer. And so we opened up Cobra Infantry last video, maybe? I don't know. I think last video. And it's one of my favorite figures of the line. Like, I love the modernization of everything. I really love this vest it has on. So obviously, there's probably going to be a lot of reuse, right? Because this is the commanding officer for these guys, you know what I mean? So there's definitely is a lot of reuse here. But the things that are different actually make sense. So, like, he's got a unique head sculpt over here. It's a slightly different. But if you look at the mask, right, this guy's got like a hard mask. Like, this is armored, this black part here. And this one is just cloth. You know what I mean? Just like the original figures. The original figures just had, you know, the cloth piece covering their mouths. And small differences like that. Like, there's no shin guards on him either, because he's the officer, right? So he's not going to be on the front lines. So he doesn't need as much armor as this dude. This dude's the fodder. This dude's going to die. I've heard War Pigs by Black Sabbath, okay? I know what's going on here, right? And, you know, the big difference is the Cobra symbol on the chest, right? So that one's red and that one's silver, just like the original figures. Obviously, I'll put a picture up here. The original figures did have an officer, and he did have a silver symbol on his chest. And all the updates, the differences between the two make complete sense to me. So there's a lot of reuse body-wise, but it's okay. It is what it is. We'll get to the accessories in a minute. Obviously, this whole chest, this, you know, armored chest and everything, this guy doesn't need because he's not going to the front lines. But he's got like a smaller, more slender one with just the straps and stuff on it. And it does look really good. Another one of the big differences, he's got this armband, this loose armband on his other arm, which looks really good. And this must be a ranking sort of thing, you know, just to signify that he's an officer, to at least help signify, you know, when they're searching through dead bodies on the battlefield, even though no one ever died in G.I. Joe, the cartoon at least. But this guy, definitely, you can tell that he's more of a commander than a trooper by the way the design choices on him. So I really like that. I think it was a good choice. Again, I love the color scheme. I do miss the red logo, to be honest with you, because when I think of Cobra, I think of that red logo. However, you know, the silver is a nice little change. It does stand out quite a bit from what you think it's going to be. And obviously the sculpt work is on par. The articulation is the normal G.I. Joe classified articulation. Ab crunch up the wazoo. I could probably make a lot of money if I was a G.I. Joe chiropractor. Just do this. Ah! So let's check out Mr. Officer Man's accessories. So he's got a helmet just like the first one, but you know, it just pops on his head. But you know, it does have that V right there, which the original doesn't. So that V sort of, I'm sure it signifies rank or something, or that he's an officer too. So it is a unique sculpt. Like, it's mostly the same, but it does have that V on the front, which looks pretty cool because it's silver. It matches the rest of his outfit, matches the Cobra symbol and everything. All right, first accessory is this weapon pouch, which looks really good because of the sculpt work. I really like how it's got that leathery look to it, and it's got a sculpted on Cobra symbol, which hope you can see with this lighting. I don't see why you wouldn't. I believe this goes into the backpack hole on his back. So it's just like a single holder on the backpack, and it'll hold one of his guns on it. But the sculpt work on it looks really, really good. And I believe that holster is going to be for this gun right here. So again, I think this is a unique gun. I don't remember seeing it at all. And it does take an ammo clip on the side. That's why I don't remember seeing it, because I definitely don't remember any guns where the ammo clip goes in the side like this. Let's get it in there. So there it is. So with the ammo clip coming out of the side like that, I don't remember any like that. So it might be a unique sculpt for just this one, which is pretty cool. Yeah, you do have to take the ammo clip off to fit it in that holster we just looked like, but it looks like he might have ammo clip storage on his belt. So I'll find out when I mess with him a little bit in a second. All right, smaller accessories. He does have a small gun, obviously. Like we talked about, everyone needs a handgun, okay? And he has a knife. Most characters have a knife too, because what if you run out of bullets, right? What are you gonna do? So the knife is two-tone, again, like I said. Paint details for this part of the series, very good. So it's got a nice silver, shiny part. This might be a unique sculpt, but you know, it's a knife. Knife goes in there, and this must be the gun. And the gun looks a little funky because this belt's super high. So let's see. Oh no, it looks good. Doesn't hinder anything. So that's where that gun goes. And then he's basically got to build a weapon here. So he's got, you know, an automatic assault rifle here, and you can put a weapon clip right there. But it also had this little slot right here, and it comes with a sight, a separate sight too. So that sight can hook in there too. If I can do it on camera. So you go, that sight can go in there, and there is a spot on the belt to hold this too, I believe. If you don't want it on there for whatever reason, there is one holder on the belt that I haven't quite identified yet, but that's what it looks like all put together. It's got the sight on it. It's got the ammo clip in there. It's nice. It's got that, you know, the wood grain detail right there. All right, go into the back. I think that's the holder for the sight if you want to put it in there. That's all I can think of that can go in there. I don't think that's for the ammo clip. I think the other one's for the ammo clip. I mean, it fits in either, but there's a flat one right here. I think this was for the extra ammo clip. So if the gun's like here on the back, obviously you can't have this ammo clip in it. So you just, you know, get it in there just like that. So now he's got the ammo clip on his back too. Might hinder movement a little. I don't know. You could face it the other way maybe. But that's what it looks like it's for to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Leave a comment if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. So that's the Cobra Officer. I love the color scheme and everything. I love the iconic design. I do like this one a little bit more, Cobra Infantry, but the Officer looks pretty cool. He's got some great accessories too. You really can't go wrong with either one. Obviously, I'm glad I have them both. And I love the iconic design. All right, and that's it for collection number 4. Unboxing number 4 on the channel. Thanks so much for watching this. These are some of my favorite figures in the whole series. So the winners this episode easily are probably Storm Shadow, Alley Viper, and Spirit to me, and Bat too. Actually, I don't know. I love them all. I guess this Cobra Officer is my least favorite, but obviously I still love him. He's still cool. But Storm Shadow, Spirit, Bat, Alley Viper, these were some of my prime G.I. Joes back in the day. Even though I never owned a Spirit, I obviously knew who he was from, the TV show and the comic book. So thanks for checking them out with me. I can't wait to open more. I still have, 4 more episodes or so before I get caught up on G.I. Joe. So these are, again, some of my favorite in the series. I love this episode. I love making it. I love bringing these guys out and researching about their histories and stuff like that. So keep tuning in, keep watching for more. Peace out.